Crushed under the weight of $100,000 in debt, one man stared at the walls of his empty home, each bill a reminder of failure, each call from creditors a stab of fear. Hope had fled. Sleep became impossible. Desperation clawed at every corner of his mind. No solution seemed real, no plan strong enough, until something extraordinary happened. God spoke to him in a quiet, undeniable way, revealing 6 biblical keys that would change his life forever. These keys weren't just about money. They were about transformation, faith, and unlocking blessings that the world cannot teach. Today, I will guide you through each of these 6 divine keys, showing how faith, action, and spiritual wisdom combine to erase $100,000 in debt, restore peace, and open doors that seem permanently closed. By the end of this video, you will understand not only how to navigate financial struggles, but also how to align your life with principles that bring lasting breakthrough. These truths have been hidden in plain sight, often overlooked, yet powerful enough to shift your entire destiny. Stay close, because each key builds on the last, forming a roadmap that anyone in any circumstance can follow to rise above despair and step into abundance. Welcome to Shaolin Divine Flow. Subscribe and join a community that seeks wisdom, faith, and practical guidance to transform every area of life. Today marks the beginning of a journey, one that turns fear into faith, debt into provision, and struggle into triumph. The moment to open your heart and embrace change starts right now. Darkness surrounded him, heavier than any mountain of debt. Every plan he tried crumbled. Every option seemed blocked. Despair whispered that there was no way forward. In that moment, he stopped searching for answers in the world. He turned inward and then upward. God became his only direction, his only hope. In the silence of his heart, he prayed, not for quick fixes, not for easy shortcuts, but for guidance, clarity, and strength to take the next step. Faith became more than a word. It became a lifeline. He realized that the solutions he had chased for years, loans, side jobs, risky investments, were limited. Human effort alone could not carry him out of the pit he was in. He needed something greater, something beyond the visible, something divine. And in that surrender, a subtle peace began to bloom. Not instant, not loud, but undeniable. It was the quiet assurance that he was no longer alone. He started listening, not to the noise of worry or the fear of failure, but to the still, small voice guiding him toward wisdom. Every prayer, every moment of reflection became a step out of despair. He learned to recognize opportunities that faith revealed, small, seemingly ordinary moments that held extraordinary potential. Decisions that once felt impossible now seemed manageable. Doors began to open, not because the world changed, but because his perspective had shifted. In this darkness, he discovered a truth often overlooked. Real transformation begins when worldly solutions fail and divine guidance takes the lead. Faith is not passive. It is an active pursuit of God's wisdom, a daily choice to trust in the unseen and a commitment to move forward even when the path is unclear. Through this surrender, he started to see the first sparks of hope, and the foundation for his journey toward freedom and abundance quietly took shape. Fear had ruled his life for too long, every thought shadowed by worry over bills, loans, and mounting interest. But the first key he discovered was simple yet revolutionary: complete trust in God. He learned that carrying the weight of his financial burdens alone only deepened the struggle. Surrendering them, truly letting go, created space for divine provision. It was not about giving up effort. It was about replacing fear with faith, panic with peace, and doubt with unwavering belief. He began each day declaring that God would provide. Each payment, each unexpected expense became an opportunity to exercise trust rather than anxiety. Slowly, the walls of fear that had confined him began to crumble. He noticed small, consistent signs of help: an unexpected call, a timely opportunity, a piece of advice that seemed perfectly suited to his situation. These were not coincidences. They were proof that trust unlocks guidance beyond human reach. The second key revealed itself naturally: generosity. Even in debt, he began to give: a few dollars, a kind gesture, a moment of service. Scripture promised that giving opens the door to receiving, and he experienced this truth firsthand. Every act of generosity, no matter how small, sent a ripple of blessings into his life. The third key was the power of words. Fearful thoughts were replaced with declarations of faith. I am blessed, he would say, provision is on its way. Speaking in alignment with belief reshaped his mind, his attitude, and ultimately his reality. Next came obedience. He followed God's guidance carefully, making choices rooted in wisdom rather than impulse. Every financial decision was measured, prayerful, and deliberate, creating a structure that welcomed stability. Gratitude became the fifth key. Even in scarcity, he thanked God for every small blessing. This simple practice shifted his focus from lack to abundance, transforming his mindset and opening doors previously unseen. The sixth key was perseverance. Trials did not vanish overnight. Patience, faith, and steady action became his companions. Each small step, each moment of trust, built momentum toward a life free from debt and full of purpose. Even when his pockets felt empty and hope seemed distant, he discovered the power of giving. The second key was clear. Generosity is not about having abundance, it is about trusting God enough to share even in scarcity. Each small act of giving became a declaration of faith, a signal that he believed God could provide, even when circumstances said otherwise. He learned to offer time, money, and help to others, even while struggling with his own needs. The principle was simple yet profound: give, and it will be given to you. At first, it felt risky. How could he give when his own debts loomed large? But he realized that holding tightly to what he had kept blessings at bay. Every gift, no matter how small, became a seed. And seeds, when planted in faith, grow into provision far greater than what was offered. Opportunities began to appear in unexpected ways. A friend recommended a side project, a long-forgotten skill found new value, a solution came when he least expected it. These moments were not random. They were the natural unfolding of divine principles in action. Each act of giving reinforced trust, showing him that generosity is not a cost but an investment in God's promises. Generosity also transformed his mindset. Fear and scarcity gave way to hope and abundance. The focus shifted from what was missing to what could be shared. He saw clearly that blessings flow more freely to those who are willing to release their hold on material things, trusting that God is the ultimate provider. Through this key, he discovered that giving is not measured by wealth, but by the willingness to act in faith. Every gesture of generosity opened doors, created connections, and invited unexpected favor. In practicing this principle, he experienced a profound shift. His life moved from survival to alignment with divine provision, setting the stage for the next steps of transformation. Words became his most powerful weapon. The third key revealed that speaking faith aloud could shape reality. Every negative thought, every whisper of fear had been holding him back. I'm broke. I can't pay this. Nothing will change. These words echoed in his mind, creating chains he could not see. He realized that to break free, he needed to replace them with words that reflected trust, hope, and belief in God's provision. Each morning he began declaring truth over his life. I am blessed, he would say. Prosperity flows to me. God opens doors no one can close. At first, the words felt strange, even forced, but repetition planted seeds in his heart, shifting his inner world. Thoughts aligned with speech, and slowly, his mindset began to change. What was once fear became anticipation. What was once doubt became expectation. He discovered that declarations are not magic, they are commitments. Each word of faith is a choice to refuse negativity and to stand in alignment with God's promises. He spoke not only over finances but over his opportunities, his relationships, and his purpose. Speaking faith gave him courage to act, clarity to see solutions, and resilience to keep moving forward even when progress seemed slow. This key also revealed the ripple effect of words. People around him responded differently. Doors opened and circumstances shifted in ways he could not have orchestrated alone. By aligning speech with belief, he created a life that reflected hope rather than fear, abundance rather than scarcity. He learned to guard his words carefully. Complaints, worry, and fear were replaced with gratitude, confidence, and affirmation. Each declaration reinforced the truth that God honors faith and that life responds to the words we speak. By consistently choosing to speak faith, he laid the foundation for the miracles that would follow, and his journey toward freedom from debt took on a new, unstoppable momentum. The fourth key revealed itself in the choices he made every day. Obedience to God's wisdom became his compass. He realized that faith alone was not enough. Action guided by divine principles was essential. Every decision, how he spent, saved, or invested, required careful thought, prayer, and discipline. Impulse and convenience no longer ruled his life. Instead, he sought guidance and measured each step against what aligned with God's truth. Financial discipline became a natural expression of faith. He created a plan, setting aside what he could save, prioritizing what mattered, and resisting the pull of unnecessary expenses. Each act of self-control reinforced his trust in God's provision. He discovered that discipline was not restriction, it was preparation for blessing. By managing his resources wisely, he created space for opportunities to grow and for miracles to manifest. Obeying God's guidance also meant listening closely to intuition, scripture, and the quiet nudges that often go unnoticed. Sometimes the right decision was uncomfortable, like delaying gratification or saying no to something appealing but unwise. Other times it required bold action, investing time, money, or energy in ways that aligned with divine purpose rather than immediate gain. Every choice, rooted in obedience, brought clarity, direction, and unexpected favor. He also learned to seek counsel when unsure, recognizing that God often works through wise mentors and trusted advisors. Collaboration and humility became part of his journey, allowing him to avoid costly mistakes and embrace opportunities that aligned with his purpose. Through this key, he built a framework of stability and trust. Each decision, anchored in obedience, strengthened his foundation and accelerated his progress. God's wisdom in daily choices created a ripple effect, turning cautious steps into momentum and discipline into freedom. By committing to this principle, he learned that following divine guidance is not just a path to financial breakthrough, it is a way to live in alignment with God's perfect plan. Gratitude became the fifth key, a quiet force that reshaped his entire journey. He realized that focusing on what was missing kept him trapped in a cycle of fear and worry. Each day he began acknowledging even the smallest blessings, an answered call, a paid bill, a kind word from a friend. These moments, though simple, carried immense power when met with a thankful heart. He discovered that gratitude shifts perspective. Instead of dwelling on lack, he started seeing abundance everywhere. Every dollar, every opportunity, every step forward became a gift to appreciate. This daily practice rewired his mind, replacing anxiety with contentment, doubt with faith, and scarcity with possibility. When he thanked God for the little things, doors began to open for the greater things. Gratitude also deepened his trust in divine timing. Even when progress felt slow, he focused on what he had, not what he didn't. Each act of thankfulness was an affirmation that God was working, even in ways unseen. This simple shift created a magnet for blessings, attracting more opportunities, resources, and guidance than he could have imagined. He learned that expressing gratitude was not just internal, it was active. He praised God aloud, journaled his thankfulness, and shared appreciation with others. Each expression reinforced the truth that life responds to an attitude of thanks. Miracles, solutions, and divine favor flowed more freely when he centered his heart on appreciation rather than lack. Through gratitude, he experienced peace in the midst of struggle, clarity in confusion, and hope in uncertainty. By celebrating every small gain, he aligned his life with abundance, setting the stage for breakthroughs to manifest. Gratitude became a lens through which he viewed the world, transforming ordinary moments into blessings and opening a pathway for God's provision to flow without obstruction. The sixth key was perseverance, a lesson learned through countless trials and setbacks. He discovered that God's blessings rarely arrive all at once. Progress often comes in small, steady steps, and patience becomes the bridge between struggle and breakthrough. Each day required persistence, showing up, trusting, and taking deliberate action even when results were invisible. He faced moments of doubt, times when it seemed the debt would never end, and the pressure threatened to overwhelm him. Yet he remembered that endurance builds character, and character aligns life with divine favor. Every challenge became an opportunity to strengthen faith, refine decisions, and deepen reliance on God's wisdom. Steady action, no matter how small, turned into momentum. Paying off a little debt at a time, making wise financial choices, speaking faith daily, practicing generosity, and expressing gratitude all compounded over time. These consistent steps, though humble, created an unstoppable force that drew blessings closer and opened doors that once seemed locked. He also learned that perseverance is more than endurance. It is a mindset rooted in trust. Instead of giving in to despair, he focused on the promise that God is faithful. Difficult seasons were not punishments but preparation, shaping him to handle greater abundance and responsibility. Each trial tested patience, refined perspective, and revealed the strength hidden within him. Through perseverance, he experienced the transformative power of steady, faithful effort. His journey from desperation to freedom was not instantaneous, but every moment of trust, every act of obedience, every choice to keep moving forward laid the groundwork for lasting breakthrough. Patience became his ally, faith became his compass, and action became his path. By embracing perseverance, he learned that God's timing is perfect, and blessings unfold in their fullness only when hearts remain steadfast, faithful, and willing to endure. The transformation was gradual, almost imperceptible at first, yet undeniable in its impact. As he applied the 6 keys, his financial life began to shift in ways that once seemed impossible. The constant weight of debt started to lift. Payments that once felt crushing became manageable, and slowly, the $100,000 that had loomed over him began to disappear. Each cleared debt was not just a number erased. It was a symbol of faith in action, a testament to the power of trust, generosity, and obedience. Peace replaced panic. Nights that had once been sleepless were now calm, filled with hope instead of fear. Anxiety no longer dictated his decisions. He felt a deep, unshakable sense of security, knowing that he was aligned with God's wisdom and guidance. The tension that had haunted him for years melted away, replaced by confidence and clarity. Opportunities began to appear, often when he least expected them. A freelance project provided extra income just when he needed it most. A mentor offered guidance that accelerated his progress. Doors that had been firmly closed opened as a result of the mindset, discipline, and faith he had cultivated. Each opportunity reinforced the truth that his transformation was not luck. It was the natural outcome of consistent, faithful action. Beyond finances, his entire life was reshaped. Relationships improved, stress lessened, and a sense of purpose emerged. He realized that abundance was not just about money, it was about living in harmony with God's principles, acting in faith, speaking truth, practicing gratitude, and persevering through every challenge. The lessons he had learned extended far beyond financial freedom. They became a blueprint for a life of peace, prosperity, and divine alignment. Through this transformation, he understood something profound. The journey from debt to abundance is not just about solving a problem, it is about becoming the person capable of receiving God's blessings, walking in faith, and living a life of lasting impact. The lesson from his journey is clear. No situation is too desperate for God's intervention. Debt, fear, and hopelessness are not the end. They can become the beginning of a story of breakthrough. The 6 keys he discovered are not secrets reserved for a select few. They are principles anyone can apply, at any stage of life, no matter how impossible circumstances may feel. Trust in God fully, give generously even in lack, speak words of faith, obey divine wisdom, practice gratitude, and persevere through trials. These steps are simple, yet transformative when embraced with sincerity. Applying these keys requires courage. It asks for a shift in perspective, a willingness to replace fear with faith, an action that aligns with God's guidance. It challenges the mindset that solutions come solely from human effort. inviting viewers to step into a higher, more powerful path. Each key reinforces the others. Faith fuels generosity, obedience amplifies trust, gratitude enhances perseverance, and perseverance unlocks the results of consistent faith-filled action. The beauty of these principles is that they work in real life, not just in theory. The man's story proves that financial and personal transformation is possible when divine principles are applied consistently. Challenges remain, setbacks may occur, but each step forward is progress, and each act of faith opens the door to unexpected provision and blessings. For anyone watching, the takeaway is simple. The power to change your circumstances lies within your hands, guided by God's wisdom. Begin today by choosing one key to practice, and allow it to grow into a habit that reshapes your life. Even the smallest act of faith can trigger momentum. When combined with all 6 keys, the results are extraordinary, turning debt into provision, fear into peace, and hopelessness into a story of victory that inspires others. These biblical keys are not just lessons, they are a roadmap, a guide for anyone ready to transform struggle into triumph and live in alignment with God's abundant plan. Remember this: no debt, no failure, no fear is too great for God's power to transform. When His principles are followed, trust, generosity, faith-filled words, obedience, gratitude, and perseverance, even the heaviest burdens can turn into blessings. Your situation does not define your future, your faith and action do. Start applying these keys today and watch doors open, peace settle, and provision flow where it once seemed impossible. If this message touched your heart, like this video and subscribe to Shaolin Divine Flow for more guidance, inspiration, and life-changing truths. Every step you take in faith brings you closer to the abundant life God intends for you. Rise above fear, trust in His timing, step boldly into the life you were meant to live. The journey from struggle to triumph begins now, and your breakthrough is waiting.